Welcome back to Vintage Vibes Automotive. I'm Connor, and if you haven't been on this channel before, this is the Mark 1 Golf project. This was a free project that I got off Facebook Marketplace to get you up to speed with what we've done so far. If you haven't seen the previous videos, we've rebuilt the shell, fitted the engine. I've brought the Mark 1 Golf home to develop a wiring loom, sorted out some electrical gremlins and fitted the engine loom and got the car running. Today we're going to be finishing off all the little bits. The first thing I started with was the intercooler and the radiator setup. Where the intercooler is currently sitting, there's normally some little bits of support there, but this has previously had an intercooler and a 1.8 turbo conversion done, so these were already cut out. I don't know if you have to cut these out, I don't know if it's necessary, but they were already cut out, and for now I leaned the intercooler up against that, but actually later on don't do that, I bolt them in place, so you might not actually need to cut those inserts out. Okay, now for the main bit, the intercooler setup. So this BAM charge pipe is 2.25 inch diameter, but it goes to a 2.5 inch diameter. The intercooler is also 2.5 inch, which goes all the way around to this, which I believe this again is 2.25 inch. But you can get a little reducer or just put a 2.5 on and then tighten it down. That's what I did anyway. I mean, there's no room for it to come off. It's quite on there. So I used 2.5 and 90 degrees 2.5. Then I used 180 degrees 2.5, but I had to bend it a little bit. And 90 degrees 2.5, then another 90 degrees 2.5, and it looks quite tight in there. But the radiator does fit, and I'll show the radiator in a second. This Mark 1 already had it cut, but these have been cut here where the headlight is. You also have a little bracket here, I believe, which has been cut, so I can't put any weight on this. That was already cut by somebody else. But a nice little intercooler fits in there really snug, and there's a lot of room for a radiator and a slimline fan. The radiator is held in place by that and that bolt there. So in the last video I got the car up and running, but I made a bit of a mistake with the ignition control module delete, so I thought we could listen to the car running properly this time instead of it firing on one cylinder. More sounds at the end. This video is not like the others because I've had to fabricate things and design things myself, so let me show you what I've done. So the first thing is I've tried to tidy up this rat's nest. It's a bit cleaner, it's looking a bit better, but most of the wiring now is in here, so the ECU and all the sensors, they're all in here, and that's what it looks like on top. It's made out of an old wing, it's pretty crude, but it keeps the water off it, so I don't really care. Now the battery tray is just the standard universal tray. I didn't have a battery tray there before. If you're doing a Mark 1 conversion, you're probably going to have a battery tray there, so this one doesn't really matter, but I've showed it anyway because it's something I've done. I was finding it hard to find a coolant bottle to fit, so this is a Volvo coolant bottle from an XC90. This is just a generic 1.5 litre washer bottle. The XC90 coolant bottle is perfect because it's got a return line that goes all the way to here, and also the main coolant line is just down there, and you can pull it out and you can see it just goes to the factory coolant line on a 1.8 turbo. I had to make a little bracket so it would fit. Let me show you, it just sits right in here. This is made from an old bit of sill that I had lying around. So if you need a coolant bottle for your 20 valve and the VW ones won't fit, you can use the XC90 one. It fits perfectly in that place. The 1.5 litre washer bottle also fits perfectly. It's a bit close to the light bulb, but you could just pull it out if you needed to change your light bulb, and it's just held in by a little bracket there. The Mark 1s normally have a coolant bottle here if it's a GTI, but mine again was missing, so I had to improvise and buy a cheap one. This was £8 on eBay. That was £5 from my breakers. Okay, so this is a radiator. It's really worn and tatty. It's from a 1.8 Mark III Golf. The reason it's tatty is because I don't want to buy one when I don't know what's going to fit. So rough and ready to go, but it does hold water. It's just for testing for now. This is from a transporter, and that's just from a Mark IV Golf. A lot of the coolant hoses I've been using are from a Mark IV Golf. So if you buy Mark IV Golf, you've already got most of your coolant pipes as well. The radiator fits in like so. I'm going to have a bracket there and there to hold it in place, and same from there to there to hold the radiator in place. You know, everything is in place. There's room for a slimline fan. Here we go, here's the fan as well. This one is a 9-inch fan, and it's just a universal one off eBay. This cost me about 12 quid. There's little cables you put through the radiator, and then you stick them on the other side, and it keeps it in place. Nice, easy, cheap slimline fan. This one's a 9-inch. I reckon I should have gone with 12-inch, but this is something for me to replace later, as it is quite tiny. It might not give the correct cooling, but it's just an idea of the mocking things up, because this radiator is very worn, as you can see. This does need to go. And if anyone's going to say in the comments, yes, this radiator's upside down, it should be flipped, but in terms of getting the correct coolant hose into the right place, this did work. And to test for now, it's okay to test if it all works. If you're wondering how the fan relay works, now this is a Mark III Golf fan relay, and it's attached to the Mark III Golf plug. Okay, then I've got this red wire here, which is pin out number 2 on the plug. It should just be a solid red wire. That's tied to an inline fuse, which is 30 amp, which then runs all the way to the battery positive. You got the battery negative, and the battery negative goes to the universal fan negative, and then you've got the positive for the universal fan, and that goes into the red and white wire, which I believe is pin number 1. That basically triggers this relay. Once that clicks over to a certain temperature, it then triggers the fan to kick in. And to show you now, if I get this bit of wire here, if I take this relay out, and then I can bridge it with this bit of wire, you can see that the fan should kick in. Again, you can hear the fan working. Just make sure you get the negative and the positive going to the correct place, because if not, the fan will work still. It will just be pushing air back into the radiator. Instead of sucking warm air in, it's going to take all the heat from the engine, it's going to push into your radiator, so it won't be cooling anything down. But now I know this works, it can go back on, and I'm going to test to tape this all up so it looks nice and tidy. In previous videos I got this car as a shell, and I'm just happy to get the electrics working because I know nothing of C1 electrics before I got this car. I've also gone with a nice big carbon fibre air filter, and it's a cold air feed as well, so it's going all the way from the grille, which is where the fog light would have been, but now I've got a single slack grille, so it just gets the cold feed from there, goes all the way in there, which is great because I didn't just want to plonk a cone filter on here because it's going to get loads of heat from the engines. These 20 valve turbos run really hot. The turbos run quite hot, so it's good that you have a cool air feed for these engines, as of any engine really. When I got this Mark 1 20 valve, it didn't have the bonnet latch. It didn't have the bottom bit, it didn't have the top bit either, but this all fits because some people have a big intercooler and it sits right at the top, and people cut this top bit here to get it to fit, but I've got a bit of a smaller intercooler. I might need a big one in the future, I'm not decided yet, but for now it will fit, and I didn't want to keep using these pins because there's no security really. If someone wanted something from this car, they could just go undo those pins and then they could get anything in my engine they wanted. It's a bit hard to tell, but there you go, you can see the bonnet latch is sitting just above the intercooler. For now I have to put my finger in and go lift the bonnet up. And it's a great way if your bonnet cable breaks as well. So here we go, the finished product. I'd like to think this was everything you'd need in a 1.8 turbo conversion. I think for me all the main stuff is done now, and the car's up and running, it moves under its own power, it's got boost, it's got pretty much everything. I just need to add coolant now and finish off some little tiny bits. For now, I'll leave you with some last videos I got of the car. It's moving, it moves through its own power. I'm very pleased. this pretty much wraps up this video. Everything is in now, all the important bits are in. For me, it's just fine-tuning all those little electrical gremlins and making sure that it doesn't leak anywhere, making sure I've got no fuel leaks, and just giving it a bit of a stress test. But I'm always happy to help. If you've got any problems, just put them in the comments below. I'm happy to help, because this has been quite a bit of a jigsaw for me. I've had to guess and put a lot of things together that I wasn't sure if it was going to fit or not, and I've had to mishmash a load of parts. This car is very much a Frankenstein, because if you watched the first video, this was just a bare engine. I've had to source everything else. So again, if you've got any questions, let me know, but these engines are great. You can very much Frankenstein parts together from Cupras, Mark IV Golfs, GTIs, Audis, Audi TTs, S3s, you name it. Anyway, good luck with your build.